Shoes are more than something we wear on our feet. They carry meaning. In many traditions, shoes represent where you've been, where you're going, and what spirit is guiding your steps. They cover one of the most spiritually sensitive parts of the body, the feet, the place where you walk, the ground you touch, the path you take. And in Scripture, the feet are not ignored. In Ephesians 6:15, it says, "And with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace." Even the armor of God includes shoes. This shows that what covers your feet can carry a spiritual function, whether for peace or for something else. In recent years, the spiritual attention around shoes has become more visible and more alarming. It's not just about style or color anymore. There have been actual shoes released by major companies tied to satanic themes, openly marked with symbols, even rituals. Shoes that carry names and symbols that no longer hide their intentions. Some of them go as far as including drops of blood, inverted crosses, and direct quotes linked to rebellion against God. These are not rumors. These are real products that made it to the market, worn, sold out, displayed, and promoted. Shoes that call themselves Satan shoes. Shoes designed with clear spiritual meaning and not for holiness. When you wear something, you don't just wear fabric, you wear its origin. You wear the spirit behind its making. You walk with it. You step into new places with it. You take it into your home. You cross boundaries with it. And if the shoes were made with intention, dark intention, then your steps may not be as harmless as you think. You might be walking in agreement with something you didn't invite knowingly, but still allowed through what you wear. We must ask ourselves, what are we stepping into? What shoes are we wearing? And what spirit do they carry? When you buy shoes that are marketed with darkness, even if it's just fashion, you are putting your agreement on the altar of appearance, and agreement, even in silence, is permission in the spirit. The Bible warns us in Proverbs 4:26, "Give careful thought to the paths for your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways." This isn't just about direction, it's about what you're walking in, what you're allowing to guide your feet, what you've placed under you, and how it affects what's around you. It's a serious matter. Shoes can be entry points. Some carry spiritual assignments. Some are crafted with dedication to specific intentions. And when worn, the carrier becomes part of that intention, knowingly or not. This is not superstition. This is spiritual awareness. There are shoes today being designed, sold, and worn that go far beyond fashion. These are not just about color, comfort, or design. They are spiritual, intentional, made with rituals, announced with open dedication to dark forces. One of the most known examples is the Satan shoes. These were not symbolic. They were literal, a collaboration between a well-known company and an artist, where the shoes were marketed with open reference to Satan. Not metaphorically, not artistically. The box itself displayed demonic illustrations. The number of pairs released was 666, a number directly connected to the beast in Revelation 13:18. The shoes were black and red, colors often associated with occult rituals. They had pentagrams, they had inverted crosses, and they contained human blood in the soles. Real blood, not fake ink, not painted red, human blood placed in the bubble sole under the foot. So with every step, the wearer presses on that blood, steps on it, walks with it, carries it. These shoes were not hidden. They sold publicly. They made news. People laughed, mocked, or supported. Some called them art. But the reality is spiritual. You cannot separate blood from covenant. Leviticus 17:11 says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood." When you place blood inside a shoe, you are not just adding material. You are putting life, spiritual life, into the object. And depending on how that blood was collected or dedicated, the object becomes a spiritual carrier. In the Satanic shoe, the blood was not just symbolic, it was mixed with ink, sealed into the design and presented with a verse from Luke 10:18, which says, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven," a verse describing Satan's fall. This was not an accident. This was a direct reference to rebellion against God quoted by Jesus, now printed on a shoe. These shoes were linked to a known global brand, a logo that many trust, a name that has appeared in homes, sports, schools, and families. Even though the company distanced itself from the direct promotion of the Satanic model, the fact remains: the shoes were manufactured using their products, their original brand, altered, remixed, then openly used to carry out a message, one that is not hidden, not symbolic, but spiritual and dark. The shoes became more than just footwear. They became objects of spiritual declaration. They were created for attention, but the spirit behind them was not entertainment. In many spiritual systems, the altar is the place where objects are placed, where dedications are made. Altars are not always made of stone. Some are made with words, some with music, some with blood, some with shoes. When a shoe like the Satan shoe is made, marketed, and purchased, it becomes an altar that moves. Wherever that person walks, the altar moves with them. Every step becomes a ritual, not because the person is kneeling to Satan, but because they are carrying an object that has already been dedicated. Whether or not they know it, they are participating. Spiritual things are not governed by intention alone. They are governed by alignment. And if you wear what has been made for the altar of darkness, you become a carrier of what that altar represents. The consequences are not always visible at first. You might not feel different. You might not have a nightmare. You might not hear a voice. But in the spirit, there is movement. When you bring an object that is dedicated to darkness into your space, your body, your house, your wardrobe, you invite whatever was attached to it. Some experience sudden confusion, unrest, emotional weight, heavy dreams, rebellion, a disconnection from God. Others notice their atmosphere change, not because of superstition, but because objects can carry spirits. This is biblical. In Acts 19:19, new believers who had been involved in sorcery brought their scrolls and burned them publicly. The value was great. They could have sold them, but they destroyed them. Why? Because they knew the scrolls were not just paper. They were spiritually active. Likewise, a shoe that has been designed with satanic imagery, embedded with blood, and connected to demonic verses is not just fashion. It's a scroll in disguise. It's an altar on your feet. The spiritual world sees what we carry. Demons know what was dedicated, even if we call it just a shoe. They know who was invoked. They know what was mixed into the design. They know the ritual behind the marketing. And that's why things change around you when you allow such items into your life. Some shoes go unnoticed. They are not branded with overt satanic names like Satan shoes, but they carry strange symbols, unusual markings, designs inspired by occult shapes, inverted signs, and many of them are sold by well-known brands. Trusted logos, global platforms, but if you look closely, the patterns repeat. The symbols are not for style. They are rooted in ancient meanings. Some linked to serpents, some to portals, some to gods that are not of God, and because they're placed on shoes, they go unnoticed. People look at shirts, jewelry, tattoos, but not always shoes. Yet it is the feet that determine direction. Movement, entry, exit. Isaiah 52, 7 says, "How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news." God pays attention to feet. The enemy knows this. That's why shoes become a target, to contaminate direction, to pollute movement, to establish spiritual tracking systems, to claim ground with every step. And it begins with what covers your feet. When brands use rituals in their production process or include spiritual elements like blood, sigils, verses, and altars, they are not selling fashion. They are selling entry points. Some of these shoes become gateways. Small, hidden ones, but still real. The wearer may feel fine, but over time their atmosphere shifts. Their peace is disturbed. Their direction becomes unclear. Not always through visible drama, but through steady spiritual erosion, a slow drifting away from truth, a gentle openness to darkness because something was allowed through the shoes. This is not to create fear. It is to bring awareness, to bring attention back to what we wear and why it matters. The enemy is not always loud. Sometimes he walks softly, through design, through art, through product launches, through trends. And if we are not discerning, we walk in agreement, not because we said yes, but because we did not say no. The issue of shoes as spiritual carriers is not about paranoia. It's about discernment. The world has become more open with its symbolism, more bold with its offerings. What used to be hidden is now released in limited editions. What was once disguised is now sold in plain sight. Shoes like the Satan shoes are no longer whispers, they are loud declarations, with blood soles, with demonic verses, with branding that points to rebellion. This is not accidental design, it is deliberate dedication. And when we walk in them, we don't just walk on rubber. We walk in spiritual alignment with whatever was invoked during their creation. God is not silent about what we put on. From the sandals on holy ground in Exodus 3:5 to the feet fitted with the gospel of peace in Ephesians 6:15, the Bible shows us that shoes matter. They're not just protective gear for the feet. They represent spiritual positioning, ground, readiness, direction. And when the enemy begins using shoes to shift that direction, confuse that ground, or contaminate that readiness, we must not remain unaware. It is your responsibility to look beyond the logo, beyond the brand, beyond the trend. What spirit are you stepping into? What path are you wearing? What has been sealed under your feet? Don't wait for a strange dream or a heavy atmosphere to ask these questions. Ask now. Examine now. Choose now, because every step matters. And the altar you wear may be the door you open without knowing it. If this reflection spoke to you, and you want to stay informed and spiritually aware, make sure to subscribe for more teachings that open your eyes and protect your path. Turn on the notifications so you never miss when a new video is released. Stay alert, stay discerning, walk wisely.